Hi there. In this lesson, we are going to be going through the process of publishing and sharing your Canvas app. We'll see that there are different ways of saving your Canvas app and that you can view your app version history. We'll also see the difference between publishing your Canvas app and saving your Canvas app. Finally, we'll see how you can share your Canvas app with other people. So let's take a look at a demonstration of how to share and publish your app. I'm in my developer environment at make.powerapps.com. I'm going to go to Solutions, and then I'm going to select on My School Library Solution. I'm going to create a new app. It's going to be a Canvas app, and it's going to be called Sharing and Saving Demonstration. It's going to be a tablet-shaped app, and I'm going to select Create. I'm going to disable the Help menu and then skip it. If I select the 3 ellipses at the top, I can see there is no app version history. Let's change that. I'm going to save the app. And if I go back to the 3 dots, I can see I've got an app version history. I'm going to select that. And I can see that we have an app that's just been saved. It's published, but it has no version notes at this time. I'm going to close out of here. I'm going to add a new screen, and it's going to be a header and footer screen. I'm going to select on the first screen. I'm going to delete it. And screen 2 will now be named as home screen. Done this, I can now select the tree view. I can see the objects that exist within our screen container. I'm going to change the settings so that I can use the modern controls, settings, updates, modern controls and themes, and then close. Select insert, search for header, and then drag that inside header container 1. I'm going to disable the logo. I'm going to head up to the Save options and hit the drop down, Save with version notes. I'm going to add some version notes. And the version notes are created home screen with header. Select Save. And I'm going to select Publish this version. If I now look at the versioning, app version history, we now have 2 versions, one with version notes and one without. And the one that has the version notes is our published version. It says that it's live. I'm going to close out of here. I'm going to attempt to share this app. Select the share option. And I'm now going to select on the 3 dots and then use classic sharing. Enterprise users would be able to share their app with someone in their organization. However, sharing is disabled within the Power Up tenant. So I've switched out to another tenant so I can demonstrate this process. I can search for a user or a group within the search bar. And in this case, I can see that I've either got a user or a set of groups to choose from. I'm going to select the user. I'm going to choose to disable send an email invitation to the new users. And in this theoretical scenario, I'm going to select co-owner. And if that was the case, then the tester would be allowed to edit this app. Remember, if you're a non-enterprise learner, you won't be able to do this. I'm going to select share. And I'm also going to illustrate that you can share with groups. Go to the search bar. And I'm going to share with test SG. Select share. It's now shared with both a user and a group. And if I go to the Azure portal that your IT administrator will have access to, I can see this group. I can see it's got 2 members and I can view the group members. and I can see that both Charlie Phipps and Fran Neary are both members of this test security group. I'm now back in the Power Up tenant in the Rory Neary 24 environment, and I've closed out of sharing. I can see here that in the app details I've got a web link. I can copy it by selecting copy link to clipboard, or I can select the URL. I'm now going to paste this URL into my browser. I'm going to navigate to it. I can see the app is rendering as expected. One trick you can apply if you don't wish to see the purple navigation bar at the top is at the end of the URL you can add ampersand and hide navbar equals true. Select this and the navigation bar disappears. Let's move back to our app and make some more changes. I've now returned to the app that we've been working on. I'm going to insert a video into the main container 1. I'm going to search for video, and I'm going to drag the media video into there. I'm going to go on to the height property, select that. I'm going to make it parent.height. Then I'm going to go on to the width property, and I'll make it parent.width. I'm also going to remove the footer container. Delete. What we're now going to do is to get some video content from YouTube. I'm going to take this video about Satya Nadella, and I'm going to take the URL at the top. Copy that. I'm going to open Notepad. Now I'm going to adjust this URL. Embed. / I can now copy this. Return to the app. And then on the media property, I'm going to update this to quote, the URL we created, and then end the quotes. I can save with version notes, hit the drop down, save with version notes, added video with link, and then select save. I'm not going to publish this version. If I go to the 3 dots next to settings, app version history, we can see our newly created version, but the version that is live is the created home screen with header. And if I refresh this app, there's no change. I'm going to go back to the studio. This time I'm going to publish the app, publish this version, check the version history, and I can see the most recently created version is live. Move back to the tab with the app included, and then refresh it again. And I'm advised that I'm using an old version. I can now select refresh, and I can see the most recently created version. If I select on the icon, I can play this video. But what if there was a problem with this version? How would we go back to a previous version? We would hit the 3 dots, go to app version history, and then it's see more options for version management. I can select the 3 dots on version 2 and then restore. It says it'll be served as version 4, but remember that we're currently open on the app and this is going to cause us a problem. Select restore. That's because I'm open on the app. So if I close out of the app, then leave, and return to the version management, I can select on version 2, restore, restore. And as this is still not the live version, I'm going to select the 3 dots and publish this version. Publish this version. We can see that this is now live. If I return to the app, I can refresh it once more. The app understands that I'm on an old version of the app, so I can select refresh. And we're now looking at version 4, which is a copy of version 2. One important feature of sharing your Power Apps is that the sharing of the app and the sharing of the data that the app looks at are two different things. And whether or not you're connecting to a Dataverse database, SharePoint list, SQL database, or a third-party data source, you will need to consider access to data. Access to Dataverse data is governed using security roles. I have a security role here. It's called the Library Manager security role. If I hit the three dots, I can edit that security role. And with regards to the tables that we've used in our Canvas app, the author, books, book copies, and loans, we've given the Library Manager the ability to create, read, and write all of these tables. And as the student table is represented by our contacts table, they also have the ability to create, read, and write into that table. This has relevance at the time of sharing. So if I select back, I move on to my apps and select the three dots next to loan, check-in, and checkout, and then share. I can select test SG. Note that if you're working on the Learn with Power Up tenant, you won't be able to do this next activity. If I scroll down, I can also assign a security role to this group. If I hit the drop down, I can scroll down to the Library Manager security role, select this, and if I select share, I'm sharing the access to the app and the ability to see the data the app looks at the same time. Note that this style of sharing is specific to Dataverse, and learners on the Power Up tenant have their sharing permissions limited. Now that I've performed the sharing, I can cancel out of this. And this brings this demonstration to a close. In this video, we've gone into some detail on saving, publishing, and sharing your Canvas app. We saw the difference between saving and publishing. We saw how you could restore to earlier versions of your app. And we also saw that when you're sharing an app that uses a Dataverse data source, you also need to share along with a Dataverse security role. I'll see you in future videos.